Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik. And in the very first episode, we have got Milind Patil, who is here to share his journey with us today. We are delighted and honored to have him with us here. Before I go and speak to Milind, my question to everybody, you can use chat window and let me know what is passion for you. How would you define passion? What is the first word you think when I speak to you for passion? Cycling. Thank you, Mahesh. What is passion? Anybody else in the room who would like to define passion? Writing. Thank you, Tamanna. So passion is something that keeps you alive. Passion is something that you don't get tired of doing. Passion is something you're very passionate about, and you can do it at any time, every time, many times without thinking. If you all think I'm right, please give me a thumbs up. It could be virtual, physical, anything. And why did I choose this platform? I just want to tell everyone that passion is the energy that keeps us going. Passion is the real meaning of life that adds happiness, excitement, and anticipation in life. Passion is power, and the person who lives passionate feels powerful, enlightened, and happy. To all in the room, my humble request is to please be on mute anytime, every time, until asked upon. With that, huge round of applause for Milind Patil for joining us for the very first episode of Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik. Milind, how would you define passion?
I think passion is anything that comes in within, which excites you, which makes you happy, which makes you feel alive. I know a lot of folks who are passionate in the work that they do, and I tremendously envy them. But passion can be from work, passion can be from your hobbies, anything that makes you feel alive, anything that makes you wake up early in the morning and say, hey, I want to have a great day today, and this is what I love the most. To me, that is passion.
Okay, thank you very much. And you said something which is very connecting, which is, people say that I want to do it every time. How would you say that passion is important in life? Why would you say that without passion, there is no meaning to life? Would you give some light on passion?
I think you answered that question yourself, Kanchan. I think without passion, there is no meaning to life. We are not here just to exist, right? We are not here just in a survival mode. I think passion is something that really gives you motivation to be a better person. One is, of course, the happiness that you derive from it, the happiness, and it truly makes you feel alive, as I said. But I think it also gives you a larger sense of purpose. What have you come in for? What do you want to do and achieve in life? What is the larger purpose that you have? And if that is linked to your passion, I think it just gives you a larger purpose in life beyond just survival, beyond just existing, and beyond just living your life in a mode where you earn just for yourself and your family.
Thank you, Milind. Milind, in 2 words, if you have to describe yourself, what would be those 2 words?
That's a tough one, but I would say that I just want to live a large life. I know that is not 2 words, but I want to live a large life. I'm an ordinary person who wants to live an extraordinary life.
Okay, so I take large and I take life as 2 words. Okay, I would request everybody to go on mute. Anand, would you please go on mute? Because there is a lot of disturbance which is coming. I have somebody in the room. Anand, Vikram, can we all be on mute, please? Anand and Vikram, I request you to be on mute. Thank you. With that, we are here on Passion Talks, and I see a lot of people here. We have a lot of people live. Why have we connected? Because we are all passionate. We all share the same synergy of life, that is passion. Milind, how would your friends define you? So there is a normal introduction. Okay, let's go with your normal introduction. Who is Milind? Who is Milind Patil? And then let's go to your friends. How would they define you?
Yeah, so folks, before I introduce myself, hey Kanchan, thanks for this opportunity. Good evening to you. Good evening to all my friends, family, colleagues, as well as folks on this call and who are live, who may not necessarily know me directly. But I think we are all bound by that common denominator of trying to, pursue our passions and live a larger life than what society has determined for us. So, Kanchan, I'm absolutely privileged to be a part of this talk, and extra privileged because I know that you're starting the series with me. And thanks everybody for taking this time over a weekend. I know 1 hour on a Sunday is a very precious time. Again, Kanchan, before I answer your question, I want to say one thing to everybody, and that is about the organizer, which is Kanchan. Kanchan has this talk on something called Joe's Talks. So go to YouTube and search for Kanchan Sonik Josh Talks, right, Kanchan? Yeah, search for Kanchan Sonik Josh Talks. I recently listened to that talk, and Kanchan, I think that talk can be life changing. It is a 12-minute talk. It was just mind blowing. And not only have you articulated brilliantly in that talk, Kanchan, but it's a tremendous life story. So everybody in this who are a part of this forum, I would highly encourage you to go to Josh Talks, YouTube, Kanchan Sonik, Josh Talks. Okay. Quick introduction. I've been in the corporate world for the last 25 years, but I'm not going to give you a boring corporate world introduction because this is not a corporate setting. But just to say the least, I have worked in financial services. I am an engineer, MBA, worked in financial services across the last 25 years, and I currently lead a large team in one of the world's largest insurance companies. I was born in the UK, but I come from a Maharashtrian family, and I belong to a very humble village close to Kolhapur. But I'm very, very proud of my background, very, very proud of my roots and my family. And I have lived across various parts of India as well as various parts of the world. I prefer to talk more about what I want to do beyond work and what I'm doing. So I love trekking, I love motorbiking, I love cycling, photography, spending time with my family. I love being a mentor to people at work whenever I can be a mentor. And I have been based at Pune for the last 15 years, though I have traveled a bit of the world. So that is just a very quick introduction, Kanchan.
That is how world knows you, Milind. How would your friend define you? Your friends, they could be your school friends, they could be your college friends, they could be your colleagues who are very close to you. How would they define you? Who is Milind to them?
My friends would say that I'm a very private individual in that sense. I work hard and I work really hard, but I like to party harder. I try to keep that balance between giving my 100% at work and yet getting another 100% for things outside work. So in many ways, I'm a very private individual, but I love to spend quality time with my friends, with my family. That is what they would say. I think I drive myself hard. I drive people hard. I expect high standards, but I also have a lot of fun. That is the way I think my friends would describe me.
Thank you, Milind, for the two questions. Now, world people, you think this episode have started. Why did I take Milind on the first go? He's a passionate traveler, a trekker, a cyclist, a motorbike rider, a photographer, and a lover of nature, who believes that age is just a number. And believe me, if you see his pictures, you will actually fall in love with those pictures. That gives you a complete different frame of life, which we miss. He enjoys going out of his comfort zone and hoping to improve that the zone of discomfort can change life of others. He also works and have been working, as he said, for the 25 years. The best thing which I liked about the way he wants to describe the world, it is never too late to be what you might have been. So, when people say that, oh, I miss those days, or I wish I could go back there. So what is stopping you is you. And what can change you is again you. So please go ahead and live your life because you get it only once. That's what I have heard. I don't know because I don't believe in getting, even if I get to, rebirth, or, maybe in a new life, I won't be Kanchan. I don't know what I would be. So you, when you are here, you get it once, live it full. Now, being on the passion talk, I want you to speak about your trekking and photography journey. How did you develop interest on that, Milind? How did you find time out to do that?
I was, I used to live my life on a sofa till around 10 years back. All I did was work. All I thought about was work. I barely exercised. I really did not have a life beyond work till maybe around 10 to 12 years back. Till somebody at the workplace actually took me on my first trek. It was a place called Korigad. It's near Lonavala. It's probably one of the simplest treks you can ever have in the Sahyadris, but I was so blown away. Monsoon, getting to the Sahyadris and just looking around. And I have never looked back after that. I think somewhere you also need a strong motivation, Kanchan. I was a smoker. I smoked for what, almost 16, 17 years. But then when I started trekking, when I started doing the Sahyadris, when I started doing the Himalayan treks, what I noticed is that it was not just good for my fitness. It was not just, indulging in my photography hobby, but it actually tried to make me a better person to an extent where that for the last 6.5 years, I've actually quit smoking entirely. So I think it was just one experience in the outdoors, which really struck me with its beauty, and I have never looked back. And then when I interact with people on a trek, people who are very, very different, who belong to different backgrounds, who have different motivations, but all have a common denominator of just being outside and enjoying what nature has to offer. It doesn't matter whether you belong to the corporate world, your designations don't matter, how big or how small the work that you do doesn't matter. All of us is just bound by the beauty of, a single beautiful flower that we see on a trek, or, or the fog that swirls in and comes and covers you. That was a thrill that I got, not just from the trekking as such, but also from the people who surrounded me. So that is what drew me to trekking, and that is where I continue trekking.
Okay, so we got to know how you started. Now let me take you to the work where you are looked upon as an executive leader. So a lot of people think that executive leaders have a life which is made of, I would say, bed of roses. They have silver spoons to eat. They have the best cars to drive. They have the best laptops, the best gadgets, and a beautiful life. Can you show the other side of life, which we don't see when we look up to the executive leaders, the India heads, the global vice presidents, you name it with the titles? How is the actual life of executive leaders?
See, I don't want to give a generic answer because that will not be doing justice. I can tell you my experience. I can tell you what I've seen across the leaders that I work with. I think it is about how you take it. You have a choice of just, chasing designations, chasing larger and larger roles, but also chasing work pressure, taking on more than what you can do. And to an extent, you have a choice of driving yourself so hard that you're doing really well in your corporate life, but then you are in your mid 40s or early 40s, you're on your BP pills and your stuff like that, where you're not taking care of your health. Whereas I think you also have leaders who are very passionate in what they do. They also are very disciplined in terms of their fitness. They work hard, but they also know that there is a life beyond the corporate world. So I wouldn't want to give a generic answer. All I can say is that as you rise in the corporate world, it gets lonelier at the top for sure. It gets more stressful, but stress is a factor of how much you want to take. I still know a lot of leaders who are very chilled out and who do not really get as stressed as maybe others. And I think they have a fuller life. They have a great family to support them. They have a good friend circle, and they have hobbies and passions outside work. So just with the note that you started off, Kanchan, yes, you have great designations. You have all those cars and international travel and all that stuff. But a lot of it is about how do you manage your life and ensure that the corporate world is not your only world. I think the problem starts when, and this is not just a corporate world, you might be a businessman, you might have several other things that you're doing. You might be a doctor, a lawyer, and so many other wonderful things. But if your profession consumes you and you have nothing in life to do beyond your profession, then that becomes a problem. And that becomes a problem at a particular time in life when you realize that you have nothing else but your work. That is not a good place to be in.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, because being an executive assistant for good 10 years, I have seen global leaders working, toggling with their calendars, traveling like crazy. I don't know jet lag exists for them or not, but the moment they are back, they are in some meeting working. You said about your first trek, and that's how the journey began. How did you take it or scale it up to the next levels, Milind?
That's a great question. I started by doing the Sahyadris, simpler treks in Sahyadris, the Sivagards, the Rajgards, some of those simpler treks, the Purandars. And then slowly but surely, I started doing the tougher ones, notably Harishchandragad, Dhak Bahiri, and so many other treks. So I scaled up the Himalayan trek. I scaled up on the Sahyadris slowly but surely. By the way, I also had a lot of international travel because in the last 8 years or so, maybe I traveled just to Europe maybe more than 50 times. But every time I traveled, I may not have trekked, but I did walk around and roam around a lot, even in the countries that I traveled to. And then I started doing Himalayan treks. So I've done 4 or 5 major treks, one every year. But I did the Kanchanjunga base camp, which is also called the Goichala trek. I did the Annapurna circuit trek, which is circling the Annapurna range across 200 kilometers and crossing the world's highest pass. I did the Stok Kangri trek in Leh, which is one of the highest treks that you can do without technical climbing. And recently, of course, we did the most dangerous trek that I have done in my life, at least, which is the Bali Pass trek. So I think it's been a journey across 10 to 12 years, and I've tried to do it whenever I have time.
Thank you. That looks fascinating. And I can't take my eyes off with the pictures you have shared on Facebook, which gave me a thought to bring you live here. Now, people talk about trekking and then, targeting the next. Always it is like that. We do one level and we want to go level one, notch higher. It's like a video game. Every time you play, you want to go to the next level. So how do you work and ensure that your stamina is developed while you are in a 9 to 6 job, which is not officially 9 to 6, but then yes, with a corporate job in hand, how do you prepare yourself to scale higher every time you come back with a trek experience?
That's a great question, Kanchan. And I think that is the toughest part. That is not just the toughest part for me, but anybody who is busy otherwise and really wants to pursue these passions, there needs to be extra effort and you need to be driven. You have to exercise regularly. For example, the Bali Pass trek, and I have my friends JP and Anand also here, and they will also talk in this forum. You need to prepare. You need to get time to prepare. You need to have a very disciplined regime. This is not about going to a gym and spending 8 hours, or going to a gym and spending 2 to 3 hours every day. You don't need to do that. Uh, but what do you need to do is at least take out half an hour to 45 minutes for yourself every day. It might be sunny, it might be raining, it might be miserable weather, whatever it is. But I think it is a power of atomic habits. You have to give yourself some time every day. And there is that mathematical formula that if you try to improve 1% just every day if you improve 1%, you have improved 200% plus 252%, I think, by the end of the year. So I think that's always a tough one because you have travel, you have work stress, you have things that you need to do for your family. There are so many things, but if you can keep a minimum discipline and some motivation on why do you want to do what you're doing, I think that really helps. At least that's worked for me.
Okay. I like the fact that 1% every day. It's like my mother saying, saving a penny every day, you would be a millionaire one day. So I think 1% every day is my learning lesson from the journey till now. I would allow you to give a glimpse of some pictures of how you saw, because climbing at a trek and seeing a sunrise or a sunset or a view from there is very different from the people who are looking from down. So can you just share some pictures of how Bali Trek was before we continue the journey ahead?
I would love to do that. But before that, can we just quickly have Anand and JP introduced? Because there is
Okay,
nothing that you can do alone by yourself, be it the corporate world, be it any world. You always need to have an ecosystem. You always need to have somebody to support you. And JP and Anand were fantastic trek mates for me. JP, Anand, if you can unmute them, Kanchan, I would love them
sure.
to just give a quick introduction.
JP and Anand, I would request you to unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Yes, I see. I
am I
see
audible?
JP and I hear Anand. Can I see Anand
Hey,
as well?
Kanchan.
How can I see myself over here? I've
Okay,
never
I
used Zoom much.
no problem, Anand. We can hear you now because this is not the
Okay,
time I would be able to share it, but we can hear you. I would go to JP first. JP, we can see you and hear you,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I. So, would you please share your
Yeah, of
journey?
course, Kanchan. I think thank you for giving this opportunity. Yeah, it has been a lovely journey for us, the trek journey, I would say. I have been in the corporate world for almost 16 years now. Uh, so, work with Milind as a colleague from last 7 years. So that's where I developed my passion towards trekking after meeting Milind sometime in 2016. So the journey is on, and we have been doing a lot of Sayadri treks together while working together. So uh, I look up at Milind when it comes to trek, right? So is very passionate about it. He has a lot of enthusiasm, and I look him as a leader. I look him as a motivational person. So that's how I developed my passion towards trekking. Uh, yeah, and the first trek which Milind did, the Gochala, I was
ఇక్కడ
totally
5 minutes
impressed
చాలండి.
with the pictures that he had shared with
JP,
us.
just
And
1 minute. Anand, would you please go on mute for some time? I will ask you to unmute.
Sure.
Thank you. JP, continue. Sorry.
yeah, the Gochala trek which Milind did for the first time was something that triggered my mind that I certainly have to do or climb a snow mountain because those pictures were amazing. And yeah, I mean, it looks good to see them on the photos, but then the experience is completely different. So I would like to thank Milind for introducing me to this world of trekking, and yeah, we'll do lot of more treks in the coming days.
Absolutely, absolutely, JP.
Thank you, JP. And I wish to see more pictures. One day on the smallest trek and the easiest trek, I would be besides, maybe taking the live shoots around. Over to you, Anand. Anand, would you please unmute?
Yeah. Good evening. I'm Anand. I've been working with Milind sir for. I worked with him for a year and a half, and in the corporate, I've been working for about 6 to 7 years. And the hobby of trekking, which brought to me was like I started with Sahyadris only, right from the year 2009. The first trek which I did was the Raireshwar, which is near Pune only, where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had taken the oath of Swarajya. And then after working with Milind sir, then I got to know that he's a very adventurous person, so very adventure enthusiastic. And then I got to know that he loves trekking a lot like me. And then the first trek I did was with JP and Milind sir, which was Katras to Siagat. It's not a tough trek, but it's a very endurance testing trek, you can say that. And then one fine day, Milind sir was about to ask me for this Bali pass. I got this wonderful opportunity to trek with Milind and JP sir. This was my first Himalayan trek, which I did in this year. Uh, a very wonderful experience. Being the first trek, I thought it would be difficult, but uh, I enjoyed each and every moment with them, so that I would not find it difficult to perform this trek with the team. So hats off and thanks. Special thanks to Milind sir and JP sir for introducing me to this Himalayan adventure. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand. You told about trekking. When I travel by car from Kathraj to Siahat, it is my endurance test with the traffic in Pune nowadays. So I can
Okay,
understand what you do when you trek. So thank you for
okay.
that. I really
Yeah,
appreciate JP and Anand for sharing their stories. I would
yeah,
request
yeah.
everybody to go on mute again.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
With that, Milind, I would request you to please share glimpse of some of the pictures, or I would say the luckiest shots you have got after traveling or trekking for so long. Can you
I will,
share?
I will. Please hold on. I'll share my screen. I'll show you a few photographs, and then
Sure.
I'll also show you a video. Please let me know once you can see my screen.
I would say show the pictures now, and we will
Okay,
see the video later.
sounds good. Can you see the pictures?
Yes, we are just waiting you to maximize it because we can see that you have selected it. Can you just click or just go with the
I don't
extra?
think if I maximize beyond this, because
Can you
this is
just click on it because we can see all the pictures but not one of it. So
okay.
it is like I can see the entire folder. If you
Okay.
can just click on it and
You're still able to see only the
folder.
folder.
Yes. Can you go with extra large icons if that way we can see?
You should be able to see my screen, right?
We are able to see your screen, but we see all the pictures selected in a folder. We don't see one individual picture.
Now also.
Yes.
If I put it on slideshow now.
Can you stop sharing and try again? If that works.
Okay, let me try that. Okay, let me know whether this works.
This works perfectly fine.
Okay, great. So yeah, so I'll quickly walk you through some of the pictures here. This was our base camp. This was a place called Sankri, which is really the point at which we started the trek. These were our 4 adventurers from Pune. We had a larger group, of course, but these were the 4 from Pune. And we started, you'll notice we started at 1950 meters, which is 6,400 feet. That is the river Supin. So as you start walking towards the trek, you have this river which actually heads into the Yamunotri. So it's one of the feeder rivers of Yamuna, and you will see this river constantly by your side. That was the lower Himalayas, of course, dense jungle. This was one of the fascinating villages that we came across during the trek. Very, very remote. And it was so remote that children over there, I think everybody lived a very different life. I don't think anybody there would have ever seen a car in their lives, for example, but they had the happiest smile on their faces. They probably did not know that Putin has attacked Ukraine or all those things happening in our world. But I have never seen more happy people than when I went to this village. Here is some unwelcome visitors in our room on the first day. That same village and that river Supin flowing by. It's actually a very fearsome river. The pictures do not actually do justice to it. But we were scared when we used to see just the turbulence in the river. One of the fascinating temples that we saw right on top in this remote village. This is again that village, but we were so enthralled by this village that we clicked a lot of pictures over there. This is still the lower Himalayas, so you'll see a lot of greenery, not very dissimilar from the Sahyadris. Steeper, of course, than the Sahyadris, but landscape would have been very similar. And then slowly, as we start walking up, this was just day 1, actually. This was a 7-day trek, but slowly as we start walking up, you start seeing the vegetation changing. This was a flour mill. Fascinating that it was, that chucky as they call it. But what was unique about this is that it was actually fed by a stream below. So you had
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's something very unique.
Yeah, so the waterfall that I showed a couple of pictures back, that waterfall water actually was harnessed to, dry that chucky. Pretty fascinating stuff. This was our second camp, and this is where we saw the snow zone for the first time. And look at the background, it was scary. This is where you realize that the green vegetation is slowly changing to pine trees. And of course, those pine trees also disappear over a period of time as you keep climbing. But that is where you first see the snow zone.
Mhm.
That was
Wow.
our camp on day 2. So JP, Anand, myself, we all had a very cold night in a camp on day 2. That was our breakfast, or I guess our lunch on one of the days as we are trekking. So you used to get these packed lunches.
Mhm.
That was yet another spot where we are almost finished with the green zone and we are touching the white zone. This was another base camp that we had very close to a sacred lake. This was that sacred lake where we got some stunning views. Absolutely stunning views. This is one of my favorite pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, this was one absolute favorite picture. It was one of those moments where everybody was standing outside and nobody was talking to each other. Some 15 people were there, but not a single person was talking to anybody. They were just looking ahead.
Mesmerized with the beauty of nature.
Absolutely mesmerized, right? So this was Ruin Saratal. In
I
itself,
think
very, very tough to get to.
they must have seen this song when they have written that song, Rang De Tu Mohe Ke Hua, I guess.
I guess so. I guess so. That was our morning chai in the lap of the Himalayas.
Wow.
Yeah. As you
Beautiful.
get closer to the snow zone, you can see, yeah. So this is where we start transitioning from the green zone to the white zone. And this is one of my favorite pictures because I call it the stairway to heaven.
Very lovely.
Right. And I think that is JP. JP, I think that is you there. And I was clicking JP.
Very lovely.
These are the rhododendron bushes that you see. That is again, oh no, that was me. And this I think was JP. I think JP had a blue bag.
Okay.
That was again one of our camping sites. So we woke up to this view.
Wow. Incredible. Indeed, incredible.
And here is where the green entirely disappears. So from now on, you will see that there is no green at all. We are at around 14,000 feet and above, and things actually start getting much tougher. So while the views are beautiful, I can tell you that all of us in our bodies, we're really feeling that exhaustion, and we are also feeling the mental exhaustion. This is where the snow zone actually starts. And this is where the steep zone starts. Right? And you can see us winding through. These pictures actually look very romantic, but it was anything but romantic. It was, it was actually very tough physically and mentally. Your oxygen levels are probably around 60% of normal oxygen levels. Every step that you take from now on is every one step here is maybe the equivalent of taking 10 to 12, 10 to 15 steps in, on normal ground at normal sea levels.
Milind, one question before you continue. Do you need a medical assistance team along with you? Are your medical levels checked before you go on a trek? Are there some parameters you need to fulfill? Is there a medical team which is supporting you? Because, you said oxygen level drops, it becomes tougher, so your endurance is brought to test. So how does it go behind? Is it the mental game, or is it the physical, or is it the, aura around, or is it the team? What happens? What changes there?
I would say a couple of things. One is that you need to have base physical fitness for these kind of treks. First of all, this kind of a trek, which is a tough one, you should be able to ideally run 5 kilometers within 30 minutes. Ideally, you should train your body to an extent where you're at least able to do that, because without that level of physical fitness, you will struggle. But that is just a base. Kanchan, to your question, you might have all the fitness in the world. You could be Mr. Universe, and you could still struggle if you don't get acclimatized. So getting acclimatized, walking slowly, camping at the right spot, obeying your guide and just obeying them when they say that don't walk further is very, very important. In fact, I would say that acclimatization in the Himalayas is more important than even basic fitness. And the trek organizers are supposed to take care of you in terms of at least your vital signs every day. So every day when you reach your camp, they should ideally, and I say ideally because some trek organizers do it and some don't, but ideally the trek organizers should check your oxygen levels. I know for example that there are trek organizers where if your oxygen level goes below 80 at any camp, you may not be feeling anything, you might be feeling absolutely fine, but if your oxygen reading goes below 80, they send you back. So constantly monitoring your oxygen level, constantly checking for AMS is very important at each camp. That is the way things generally progress. But if you start feeling breathless, even in the lower Himalayas or before the snow zone hits, there are trek organizers who ask you to head back and do not take you forward.
Okay, thank you. That's a piece of information.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite pictures, and the reason it is favorite is not because I'm there. This is the picture that JP clicked, by the way, but it is because of the background. The background is the mountain Swarga Rohini, which is, according to Hindu mythology, the mountain that the Pandavas climbed on their way to heaven.
Wow.
It was such a phenomenal sight. I can only imagine, for example, what happens when you see Mount Kailasha. But this mountain is the mountain where the Pandavas, one by one, on their final journey to heaven, climbed, and only Yudhishthir and a dog survived, and the other Pandavas died. But it is said that if you climb to the summit of that mountain in the background, this is the only way in our mythology that you can touch heaven. It was just amazing to have this mountain always in the backdrop.
Oh, wow. This is wonderful. So
Yeah,
you've already gone to the, touch foot, I would say foot level of heaven is already done. There is a little climbing left.
Yeah, I don't know whether any of us will ever go to heaven, but that's a different topic.
Wow.
Yeah, so this again is continuing through the ice zone. Um, the ice zone looks very, as I kept saying, these are areas which can kill you. The difference between the green zone and the white zone, if you will, is that in the green zone, if you get injured, you can still get back to safety. You have enough oxygen, you have enough people to carry you back, and you will not, for the lack of a better word, you will not die.
Mm-hmm.
In these kind of zones, which is 15,000 feet and above, if something happens to you, if you just put your leg through soft snow and if you go down a few feet, if you fracture a leg, if you fall, if you slip, or if you have AMS, which is acute mountain sickness, you are in a very, very bad spot. Very bad in the sense that honestly, you may or may not survive, which is why the white zone becomes a very dangerous zone. This is the three of us in one of our camps. This was one of our
Oh my
this was one of
God.
our summit climbs, and I will show you the video.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is one of our summit climbs. On one hand was almost 9,000 feet straight down. If you miss one step here, you are 9,000 feet straight down.
Oh my God.
This is the three of us actually feeling very happy and celebrating our summit. Those are some celebratory pictures. This is on our way down. Remember that when you climb a Himalayan mountain, that is just half the job done. You have to get back. You have to get back safely.
I've heard from somebody that there is a report which was published which says not many people died climbing Himalayas, but 85% of them died when they were coming back. So is it as critical?
Here is an interesting statistic. The world's most dangerous mountain is Mount Annapurna.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 33% fatality rate. 1 out of 3 people on that mountain die, which is more than K2, which is more than Everest. But the interesting fact, as you rightly pointed out, Kanchan, is that 75% of those deaths have happened after the summit has been reached and when they're on their way back.
Any particular reason? Is it the fitness? Is it the mental block that I've done it, I can do it? Is it lack of safety, or is it that risky to come down?
I think you have covered almost everything. It is number one, because sometimes you let your guard down because you're so happy on reaching the summit. You forget that the trek is over when you reach the base camp only. Sometimes you let your guard down. Also keep in mind that walking down and descending is more dangerous than ascending. When you're ascending, you are doing it slowly, you're tired, you go step by step. On the descent, if you miss one step somewhere, you never know where you will land and you could get killed. And particular to the Annapurna, it is avalanches. The avalanches and the snow avalanches can come in at you anytime from anywhere and just kill you immediately. So descending generally, especially in the snow zone, is far more dangerous than ascending.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is again on our way to descend. Right? There are areas where we could not
Oh,
stand and go down. So we had to sit and, carefully nudge our way down. This is where we actually came down. This is another story. I don't think I have enough time for that story today, but one of our fellow trekkers, his oxygen went down to 38.
oh my God.
His oxygen went down to 38. He was very close to death, but we were able to save him. And thankfully, he's hale and hearty, very much in Pune and doing well in life, but it was a tough one. This is Anand actually, and I think it's a spectacular
Wow.
picture, and I really wanted to put it there. Anand, that was amazing.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
This is a picture which I call the two M's, majesty and misery. On one hand, you have majesty all around you, but there are times when you feel so miserable, you feel so out of breath, you feel so physically tired that all you want is your next camp. This is one of my favorite
Wow.
pictures. And we climbed at least 3 or 4 such ridges, very, very tough to climb. And one of the things that I would say is don't look back and don't look down when you're doing these climbs. It is scary to just look down or look back.
Okay.
These are some of
Wow.
our pictures clicked by another very talented photographer. There is so much beauty there. And this was
Wonderful.
us in the snow zone. So these are some of the pictures that I wanted to share. I hope you like them.
Oh, I love them totally. They're really, really, every picture has a story. Very lovely. Thank you. My next question to you, Milind. What is the change in you which you see after this trek? So Milind 1.0, who went for this trek, and Milind 2.0, who is back today talking the story. What are the changes you see in you?
Yeah, and by the way, Kanchan, that's a great question, but it's not just this trek. When you do anything which is outdoor, when you do anything which mentally and physically tests you, there is always a 2.0 version. There is this beautiful English saying, right, that the mind once expanded never comes back to its original dimensions, right? It is amazing, but once you have that expansion, it never ever shrinks and comes back to its original dimensions. I think there are a few things. One is that these treks make you very humble. Sometimes when you're in the corporate world or when you're in business, when you're a lawyer, an accountant, very, very successful in whatever you are doing, you are full of yourself, right? You feel that the world revolves around you. You feel that, you're living the most important part of this world. It is only when you get into these treks and you realize how small you are, how small your existence is, that when you're in the snow zone and one step can kill you, or when you look at these mountains and then you realize how humbling nature is, and you are nothing in front of nature, right? It puts your life in perspective that all your worries disappear. And I think what happens is that the magnitude of your worries change. Once you do some of these treks, you don't worry about the small things in life. One meeting which did not go well, or a meeting where my boss did not say nice things about what I did, or somebody made this remark which really hurt me, and all those small things that typically trouble us so much normally. You do these kind of things and those small things completely stop troubling you, because you realize that there is a much larger life, and you realize that you're very, very small. It's a short life, it's one life, and you have to live it large. I think for me, the 2.0 version always comes back far more humble and far more accepting of things that can go wrong. One thing that happens in the Himalayas is that you might have all the best plans in the world. You could have all the best equipment in the world. You could be going with the best trekking agency in the world, and you could still have things go terribly wrong because nature doesn't care for your plans. Nature has plans of its own, right? They say that you are never ready for the mountain. You climb a mountain when the mountain is ready for you, right?
That's
So
a deep one, very
yeah,
deep.
yeah. And I think the other one is it is not about the mountain, it's about you. I know that might also sound deeply philosophical, but in many ways, the mountain is just a manifestation. There might be somebody might want to swim, somebody might want to just excel in the stock market. Everybody I've realized has a different passion. Just because I have mountaineering as a passion doesn't mean that everybody has shares the same passion. But just doing the very best that you can and leaving destiny to control a few things also, I think is important. But it's about you, and it's about how can you be a better version of yourself every day. And it is less about the mountain. I think that is really the 2.0. I'm sorry for the long answer.
No, that's wonderful. With that, to the world, I just want to tell everybody who are listening to Milind live that Milind and I have never met personally. This is our second or third online visit. And that doesn't stop you to network and ask and connect with people. The world with technology has connected everybody. Please use the right platforms to connect to people. With that, Milind, one question would be, what are the 5 advices which you would like to give to the younger Milind in house, that, how life changes, or, the younger version of you, how different would Milind be if you get chance to go back in time and relive those 20 years?
That's a great question, Kanchan. And sometimes you need to ask yourself this question. Number one, I would not change a single thing about my life. Not a single thing. Number two, I will cherish my failures more than my successes, because when I look back at my life, it is the failures which taught me far more than my successes. I have this very, very keen belief that failure is good. Sometimes I start my team meetings by saying, hey guys, I hope you fail. And there is complete silence and shock in the room, because that is not what they expect a leader to come and say, right? They expect a leader to talk about successes and I did this and I did that. Failure is the stepping stone to success. I would cherish my life. I would not do a single thing differently. And I would cherish every one of my failures. Um, is there anything I could have done a bit differently? Maybe spend more time with family, because I think my corporate life and my world, at least in the first half of my career, consumed me. Did I see the evolution, for example, of my daughter from holding her in my hands to her first year in MBBS now? I don't think I spent a lot of time seeing that evolution. So there is more time that I could have spent with family, but I'm thankful to my family just for the incredible support that they've provided, because I don't think I could have done a very, very demanding corporate job and do all these things if I didn't have a great family and a support ecosystem. I also want to thank my friends. I know you asked for 5 things, but I don't think there's anything I will change, and I'll keep moving around and meeting people and keep listening. I think maybe there's one thing that I would have probably changed a bit more is I would have listened more. The more and more you listen, the more and more you develop a great understanding, perspective, and wisdom about what's happening around you. So, but overall, I would not really change anything.
Thank you, Milind. With the clock ticking, we have 6 minutes before we end this live. I would request you to share your video, which can, actually make us feel the gush of air and make us see the view you saw. Just to feel the Himalayas sitting right now at the comfort of our homes. Can you please share that video? With that, we have some questions from the audience as well. So I would ask you after that.
Okay, I guess we're almost out of time. It's a 4-minute video, but please bear us and watch this video. You'll also see me towards the end of the video. You'll also see JP and Anand, but I think both of them are slightly ahead of me. But watch this video to get a perspective of what we went through on the final summit climb, when we were already tired, terribly tired after 4 or 5 days of climbing. This was our final 100 feet. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know when you can see my screen, folks.
Sure.
Can you see it?
I can see the screen now. If
Okay,
you play,
great.
I'll
I'm
let you
playing the
know.
video now. Can you see the video now?
Yes, I can hear and see it.
Okay, great. So just hopefully you'll enjoy this one. Hi everybody. Guys, Team Kukri. पीछे देखो। Yeah, so that was some of our final steps. And then we took another almost 15 minutes to actually reach the summit.
Oh my God, that was so dreadful. I could actually see how steep it was, and one wrong step.
Post-monsoon treks were cancelled in 2020 due to pandemic.
Okay.
The first one to get cancelled was, in fact,
I think somebody's playing a video.
Okay, can we please go on mute?
Action link were made the guide. It's needless to say, the trek
Okay.
was cancelled.
It's not me.
Okay. The subsequent
But Milind, is that your system?
You know what? It might be, you're right. It might be my YouTube playing. Hold on. I'm
Would you
so sorry.
please?
in 3 different routes.
You're right. You're right.
With
Thank
the
you.
uncertainties.
One sec. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay, Milind. Thank you. Thank you, Milind. That was wonderful. The pictures and video actually took us from our home to Himalayan trek, and it was wonderful to see how beautiful is the other side of the world. Thank you for that. There was one question from Ashok Giri, and he would like to ask you what are, in his own words, it's like he would like to know your fitness secrets and how do you manage time between your personal and professional life with the passionate life you have. So how do you do that first? Second, as you spoke about your family, could you tell something more about your family? Who all are there in your family and how do they contribute to the person you become today?
Sure. Ashok, I wish I could give you a magic answer. I'm a very ordinary person. I don't do any extraordinary stuff. I have never seen the inside of a gym in my life. But I spend half an hour to 45 minutes every day without fail. Of course, when I say every day, there could be days when you have, a very hectic schedule or you're traveling or stuff like that. But that notwithstanding, I spend half an hour to 45 minutes exercising every day. And I do stuff that I enjoy. So I might walk up the stairs. I live in a 7-floor apartment building, and sometimes I just run up and down the apartment floors, maybe 7 to 8 times, which is around 60 to 80 floors. I do that maybe in around half an hour. That is something that I almost do every day. I go cycling. I do a bit of strength training, but only at home. I try not to use the lift. I try not to. I try to even help around at home, not as much as my wife wants. But I don't have any extraordinary secrets over there. But I certainly do that half an hour to 45 minutes every day, irrespective of how busy or how stressed I am. Because I've also realized that if I don't do it, it impacts my work. I'm at that stage in my life where if I don't actually spend that half an hour, 45 minutes for myself at the start of the day, I realize that I'm not even as productive at work as I should be. So I have no secrets over there, just some discipline. That's about it.
Thank you. Thank you, Milind, for that one.
My family you asked me about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my family is absolutely the most important thing in the world to me. My wife, Meenal, I think she's there on this call. We have been married almost 20 years now. So she's taken 20 years of her existence together. Hats off to her. She's been a tremendous support system to me, and a lot of what I've achieved in life is really because of her. Then I have 2 wonderful children. My daughter is in her first year MBBS. I keep telling her that, at least give me free operations once you become a doctor eventually. My son is in his 9th standard, a very naughty fellow, but we are bearing his naughtiness for now. My mom is also in this call, and she's also been a wonderful support system. She lives in Kolhapur, and she's a very, very strong woman. I lost my dad a few years back, but he also led a fantastic life. And I have, I have a larger ecosystem in terms of supporting uncles and cousins. That is really my family. It's a small family in that sense, a small circle, but a great supporting ecosystem.
Thank you, Milind. I have been asking a lot of questions. One last advice for people to follow their passion. Why passion? What happens when they do it? And if they don't follow their passion, then who? If not now, then when? Could you just give that last piece of advice?
Have a passion so that you are happy, you have a reason to wake up with a purpose, and you have a larger motivation towards life. That passion could be work for that matter. It may not necessarily be going to the Himalayas. But I think just having a passion makes you a fuller person. It keeps you excited about life. And it also is great to, just make you aspire to be better. So if you're a cyclist and initially you can only do 5 kilometers, then you have that aspiration that I want to do 10 kilometers, I want to do 15, I want to do 20. Passion actually makes you a better person, because every time you can change your standards and you can do stuff that nobody's telling you to do, nobody's forcing you to do, but stuff that you truly love and you truly enjoy. So I would say have a passion, because it makes your life, it gives you a fuller life, and it probably and hopefully gives your life with purpose.
Thank you, Milind, for the wonderful answers and for being a great support in the Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik. Do you have any question for me? I've been asking so many questions to you, so I give you an opportunity to ask me any question you have now.
I don't have any questions for you, but I just want to thank my friends, family. I can see some familiar faces after a very, very long time on this call. I just want to thank you guys for coming in and attending. And thanks to everybody who's on Facebook Live. I appreciate the fact that it's a Sunday evening and 1 hour is a long time on a Sunday. But thanks for coming in. And Kanchan, once again, thanks for being an incredible host. Thanks for inviting me for this session. And I again want to remind everybody, please watch Kanchan Sonik on Josh Talks. So I'll sign off there.
Thank you very much. That was Milind Patil, who has done a lot of treks across Pune, and now I can say have touched doorstep to heaven, and some Himalayan treks coming on his trip going higher, has been in the industry for 25 years and still drives his life through passion. So if you're looking forward to more passionate stories, stay tuned to Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik, because I'm going to bring you one corporate leader every month who would tell you why passion is important. Stay tuned. Thank you for being there with us. Milind and everybody on the call, thank you for being a great audience. Thank you, Milind, for sharing insights of how it is done. And we are fortunate to have you. With that, thank you, everyone. See you next month with Kanchan Sonik. Thank you.
Thanks,
have a great
everybody.
time.
Have a lovely Sunday. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.